My name is Allison Levine. I work for Bob Gale Special Events as an event coordinator. Bob Gale is a company that does in-house event planning and production. Well, growing up in this business, you kind of get started whether you like it or not, right? Because you're surrounded by amazing, beautiful things all the time, and you naturally get an interest in it. I think I strayed a little further from the pack, maybe. I went away to school, went away, got my master's, worked in a different industry, and still wanted to come back because my roots were here, and there's no business that's as rewarding as this one, I think, that encompasses as many things that I could ever be possibly interested in. I think the most rewarding thing about this business is just being able to help people and help them achieve their vision of what they perceive to be the most important day of their life, essentially. Events are a joyous occasion. It's not like, any heartache is really involved. It's more just upbeat and happy and people, coming together for a celebration and really just spending time together and celebrating. And I think that's the most rewarding thing about the events business. As a company, we're very detail-oriented. I mean, every chair that we send out is perfectly touched up. Every linen, every seam facing the same direction, every flower, as beautiful as nature made it, but maybe a little manipulation, right? I think that's something that really adds to quality, and that's how you speak to quality. It's customer service and it's detail work. That's what I think. I think really knowing your clients and knowing what's important to them. I think the way our business specifically works is obviously, we kind of do everything in-house. So people come to us in the beginning and we see them through the whole process. And a lot of companies will, kind of do bits and pieces, but we have the ability to do everything here. So I know, what's going to be important to them, like this photo of this particular person this way is important to them, so I make sure it happens on the day of. And I think really knowing your clients and knowing the nature of their relationship and how they define happiness and how they, categorize their relationship really helps. And that's for the weddings. For corporate events, of course, it's different. It's knowing, branding strategies for the company and what image they're trying to portray based on, media and, their relationships to their clients and to the outside world. So we really need to take on their goals as well in order to make sure they have a successful event. So we know what they're trying to portray from the beginning and we make sure that it happens the day of. When I'm executing the event, I like to take on the goals of my clients, really. I mean, I put a little bit of my own frosting on top, I think. But I like to know exactly what they're trying to achieve. And I always say, I'm here so that you don't have 1 minute to worry at your event. Your job is to eat, drink, and dance, and I will do everything else. So my job is really to make sure that everything is taken care of early, everything is happening on time, every flower is perfect, every linen is facing the right direction, like little things, and making sure every person is having a great time at that party. It's not necessarily just about making that one client happy, it's about making their guests happy as well. I think just being here is helpful. I think I work amongst so many creative people and we're such a team-oriented business that I come up with an idea and I run it by my colleagues and then they throw something else in there, and it's really a collaborative team effort, and I think that is what my design process really is. I have the ability to work with such amazing designers, such an amazing design team, both fine arts and graphics, and we just all really love events. So we love putting things together, and that's what I think that's when we're most successful, when we work all together as a team to create something amazing. For me, it's never 100% possible to be a guest, especially obviously if I'm part of the planning process, just because, again, I know exactly what their goals are. I've worked with these clients from day one, especially knowing these people. You really know what they're going for and how they define a successful event. And so, of course, my team and I worked together, but they were like, sit down, have a glass of champagne, we've got this. And I was like, okay, but you can never fully remove yourself. And if you're a guest at a party where you had nothing to do with the planning, I really do make an effort to enjoy, but I notice every detail. And of course, I want to be a part of the celebration. So I go in with a happy face, and of course people will say, what do you think? Because this is my industry, but it's still, you have a good time. A lot of what I do has like a nostalgia to it. I think I've always sort of been in love with events. When I was 4 years old, I dressed up as a bride for Halloween and made my dad walk me down the aisle of the office because I came there after school and I said, I'm going to be this bride today for Halloween. I think I always connect to the excitement that I had when I was younger. That's something you always have to remember, because it's easy to get bogged down. There's so much to do always, and we're lucky to be so busy. But I think that you always have to connect to that nostalgia, happy part of this entire process, that I was always excited to be a part of this. I was always wanting, I wanted to do this from day one. We really are lucky. We have the ability to work together on a day-to-day basis and respect each other's work, but also want to spend time together outside of the office. We all really are friends. We do. We all live close by and spend weekends together when we're not at events. Eric, the oldest brother, is 15 years older than I am, so big age difference between us. He drove my carpool. And he does all of our in-house computer software and programming, which is, we're lucky we have some, all of our programs are handwritten to accommodate our needs. So, he really keeps everything running. And Brian is vice president of, senior vice president, but he does, and he does everything really in terms of sales and operations. He oversees all of those departments, and he's a really key member of the team in terms of keeping the day-to-day operations, going, especially with the in-house office. Our company is really separated in terms of in-house and on-site employees, and so he manages the in-house employees, and then people who work on-site, and our crew that really works together to put together every piece of the puzzle. That's what Scott manages. So, and he also does all of our accounting, but he really manages everyone that's building every new prop or every piece of equipment. I do operations, so when an event comes in, myself or one of my colleagues will take the responsibility for that event and really act as the liaison between the client and the venue, wherever that may be, and our staff, as well as the other vendors that the client is employing. And we really just make sure that every piece of the puzzle is put together properly and that everything is well thought out beforehand. And it's a very creative job, obviously. We work with our design team and designing flowers and making sure this linen color works with this chair, and really getting to the bottom of the needs and desires of the client, as well as how logistically it'll work within the space. I think this industry and this company specifically is extremely unique. It's amazing that you're putting so much love and time and effort into this one event that oftentimes really only lasts one day. And I'm lucky enough, I coordinate many of our events, so I'm there on site, in the trenches, working everything out to make sure every light is perfect and everything is executed properly in terms of timing and, warning people before they have a speech, little things like that, making sure meals go out on time. And I think we really get to work so much towards this one day and get to see the reactions in person of how much, what a rewarding thing that is, that we put all this time into making something perfect, and you get to see it actually take place on site, seeing the faces of every happy client,